we are Open Sight, as you know, Open Sight Hampshire, celebrating our centenary year this year. We're 100 years old. Yay! And we support visually impaired and blind people of all ages across Hampshire with different services online, at their homes and at our office and other venues. Did you know today is not only Valentine's Day, it is also our year of doing these baking sessions. We started in February 2021. And we cooked ginger biscuits on the first baking session. Okay, the videos that we've done in the past, and this one will be on our playlist on our YouTube channel, so you can go to our Open Sight YouTube channel and click on playlist, and you'll find baking sessions with Penny Melville Brown, and that will have all of the videos that we've done so far in that playlist that you can re-watch if you've missed any, or you just want to look back and see what we did. Today we are baking a baked fruit salad, which I'm quite intrigued about because I've never had a baked fruit salad. So yeah, something I might have to cook up for dessert this afternoon or this evening for Valentine's night. But over to you, Penny.
Okay, thank you, Zoe. Ladies and gentlemen, some of the time I'm going to be standing and some of the time I'm going to be sitting, so that I don't get too exhausted with this. And this is one of our classic meals or desserts that we make every other week and eat all through the winter because we just love it. And when it's cooked, I've got a great big Pyrex dish here, which I have a plastic lid that fits it. And we will just take the serving out of that, put it in bowls, throw it in the microwave, have it hot anytime we want it. It lasts all week and it is absolutely delicious. No added sugar, just what we've got in the fruit. And so it's, I could say healthy, but it's an absolute lie. But anyway, today is going to be lots of gadgets actually, because I know you liked them and I thought I would show you some of the ones that I'm using with fruit. And actually, the one I'm going to start with is I've got some cherries. Last year, or even the year before, I bottled cherries. And one day, if you're ever interested, we'll get on to preserving. And if anybody is interested, I did a masterclass on marmalade on my blog, I think last week or the week before. And I have to say, this is the best marmalade I've made, I think, ever. And it's really very fresh, very tangy. And the whole key is that you add the fruit juice at the end, but separate thing. Let me talk about cherries. Now, what I've got here are two things for cherries. The first is, it's like a pair of tongs. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so I've got a cup that I would put the cherry in, and then the top part of the tong has got a pokey thing, and that would go down through the cherry and push out the stone. And that's okay in Britain, where you buy a small bag of cherries. Or of course, you can use it for olives. But if you were living in France, which I did for a while, and you get a whole tray of cherries, then you need something a bit more manly, or womanly in this case. Let's not get sexist. And so what I have here, and I regret that none of you can see this probably, I'm lifting it up just in case, but at the bottom there is a clear plastic box, and into that fits a plastic square feeder trough in which you pour your cherries. They then go into this metal attachment that sits in the bottom plastic box, and the cherries go through there, and then here, can you hear this?
Oh yeah.
That's the plunger. So that way you plunge that down, it pushes the stones allegedly out of the cherry into the bottom box, which is your stone collector. The cherry shoots out another little hole, hopefully into a bowl that you've put there, otherwise you're hunting for them.
Oh, yes.
Then the next cherries come down through the dispenser. Now, I will say to you that all of this is great stuff, but I would still never guarantee that my cherries are stone free. So if I'm serving cherries, I would give a strong caveat, watch out for your teeth. And I always, as they come through, actually, I give them a squeeze, trying to check that the cherry stones have gone. Even then, I miss some. So, sighted or not, you're never going to get perfection, I think, with cherries. So I'm going to put that away and come back to my big Pyrex dish. And here I have a jar of bottled cherries, which I was going to demonstrate how to open them, but Alan did it before. And these were cherries that I'd stoned, put into a light sugar syrup, put into a pan on either a saucer, or actually I use a silicone mat, and I probably boiled the whole lot, covered it in water, top as well, for about 45 minutes, and then that's bottled and sterilized this, and these have been in the cupboard for, oh gosh, probably more than, probably 2-3 years. And when you open this jar, they've got these this is a Le Parfait jar. The rubber ring has got a little pulley bit that sticks out, and when you pull it, if you pull it really hard, you'll hear it go, and that means you've broken the vacuum.
Right.
So, and then I'm opening it up, and then I'm just going to empty my cherries into my Pyrex dish. So that's giving me another texture, another flavour, and actually just a little bit more liquid. So there we go. So 2 gadgets down and a bit of bottling tip for you. Now we're going to do the interesting stuff. I'm going to start with the most difficult. 1 fresh pineapple. Right, I have here a long serrated bread knife. And you could use a little fruit knife, a little vegetable knife, but you need to go through the pineapple, top and bottom, to get it really straight. And I'm feeling the bottom. I've got the pineapple laying on my board. I'm feeling the bottom, and I'm working out how to get my top cut to cut off the leaves as parallel as possible. And I'm cutting it through with this bread knife. And that I've got, there's the top come off. I'm just feeling it to see if I can get any juice out. And there's just a little around the core of this top. And I'm just running a thumb around it. And you know, in the middle of a pineapple, it's got a big core.
Oh, yeah.
And so in the middle of this top, where the leaves attach, it goes into the core. So I've just managed to get a little juice out of that. And I've got a box to put all my rubbish in. Now I'm turning my pineapple round, and I'm now going to attack the bottom. And again, I'm trying to get it a really straight, parallel cut. And I promise you, if you can't see, this is the trickiest bit of all of this, these 2 cuts. So don't rush at them, do them gently, safely, because you're also using a fair degree of force. And again, I'm just going round, running a finger through the soft bit of flesh on the bottom, getting out whatever juice I can into my Pyrex dish, and there'll be odd bits of flesh that are coming through. I'm just popping in, and that's again going round the bottom of the core. Okay, pineapple upright on the board. Now, the magical pineapple cutter. This comes in 2 parts, and I think when you buy them, and you know that place where you could buy them, It begins with an L.
I
We've
know.
got lots of things from there before. There's different size blades. So I've got a plastic handle that clips into a metal tube. On the metal end of the metal tube, there is a circular disc. In the middle of the circular disc, there is a tube, the end of the tube, which has got serrations. And those serrations are going to go round the core of the pineapple and cut round it. On the edge of the disc, I've got a serrated bit again, and that is going to cut round the edge of the pineapple flesh, between the flesh and the skin. Okay, so what I'm trying to do now is line up, again, this is where it's quite tricky when you can't see, is line up the middle of the cutter with the core. And I'm doing this standing up because it takes a fair bit of force. And I'm cutting down. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Just about, yeah.
Just, I'm going to be quiet.
Oh, yeah.
So are you twisting that, Penny?
I am twisting it.
Yeah.
And I'm standing, and it's taking strength to go through. And I'm just about through. There we are. Now I'm pulling it out. Actually, I might just, there's a quick release on the handle. So I can take the handle off. I can push the whole of the cutter through the pineapple. And it's, this is the bit where it's good to do it in the privacy of your own kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay, I now have a cutter without its handle. So I've got a long metal tube. Around that metal tube, I have a long coil of pineapple. So if you opened it up, it's like a concertina.
That's very clever, isn't it?
Like
So
peeling.
what I could do, if I wanted to, and I have done this many times, is stuff it with a banana, and then you could, which is there to hold it all together, banana straight down the middle, and then you could wrap it in foil, or I do it in the sous vide, and you could roast your pineapple.
Oh.
Orange juice, bit of orange zest, whatever else you want to throw in the bag or in the foil package, pop it in. Now I can feel that I haven't done this very beautifully. So I'm just going to push my pineapple skin away, and I'm breaking this coil of pineapple up into mouth-sized pieces. And we talked about this before. When you can't see, it's really good to have your food cut up beforehand. Because, just a nightmare, isn't it, doing it on the plate? So I spend most of my life in the kitchen chopping. I made a huge lamb tagine the other day. Now, as I'm doing this, I can feel that I've got little bits of core on my in this coil. So I'm just cutting off the bits of flesh. So I'm taking out that hard core, because you certainly don't want to eat it. And if I've got a bit of skin from the outside of the pineapple on here, again, I'm just going to trim it off, but you just so that you don't want that in your mouth later on. But it's a really simple way of managing a pineapple. The alternative would be to cut the pineapple, cut the top off the end and the bottom off, and then take a big strong knife, but again I would use a firm serrated knife, and that you can go down the edges. You will then be left with little eyes from the pineapple, because you know all the way around it, it's got I don't know what you would call them. I don't know what they are.
Scales?
I don't know. But they've got little, they have got little scales, and in the middle of each one of those is a little tufty bit. And those little tufty bits go right into the fruit. And so that's what you're trying to get off. But you can go around with the point of a potato peeler and just take them out like eyes. But it's incredibly boring. You know, you get covered in stickiness. This is just rather easier. And I hope you can hear that I'm just whacking this in. It's not taking me very long. I haven't pre-prepared this for you. So you can see that actually I'm managing this pineapple quite well. Alan is standing there at the side, being slightly more sceptical, I can tell him. But sort out
you're doing a great job, darling.
he said, yeah, Valentine's Day. I'll say whatever you want to do, darling. Indiscriminate. Anyway, there's the pineapple just about gone in. And I have the skin of the pineapple. So this is what I have cut the center out of. And so I now have this sort of tube of pineapple. Now, in there's lots of flesh, lots of juice. So you could do it with a spoon. To be quite honest, I prefer to do it with my fingers. I've got really strong hands and I'm just stroking my thumbs on the inside of this pineapple and pushing out the pulp. So I'm getting, you know, this is probably as much pineapple again, but otherwise you would just lose. So do not forget to get all of this out. I'm doing it over the bowl. So I'm capturing all that juice that is spilling out. And I've given up on me being clean or anything. You know, this is, again, the privacy of one's own kitchen. But as I do this, let me tell you the most wonderful tip that I discovered last week. If any of you ever read my blog, you'll know that I was clearing out one of my kitchen cupboards. You know those cupboards that you have? They've got things in there that they actually have history nowadays.
Yeah.
I was very reluctant to throw out my homemade plum ketchup dated 2003. I didn't care about the gravy granules best before 2006. But I did find a tin of condensed milk best before October 2008.
Oh my God.
Closer.
So I thought, well, I'm going to experiment with this. So I told you I was making this lamb tagine and I was cooking that in the oven on the lowest temperature for 6 hours. And that was delicious. And that's another recipe. But I thought, well, let's experiment with this because I know you can make caramel for for shortbread by boiling it. And that's really dull for a blind person. So I thought what I'll do is I'm just going to toss this tin into the oven on that low temperature for 6 hours and see what it comes out like. It was an absolute triumph.
Wow.
Absolutely delicious, no effort at all. If you like making this sort of thing, you could put in several tins alongside a casserole or anything else that you're cooking for a long time at a very low temperature. And then you've got them all, and all you've got to do is mark them as caramel, and you've got them whenever you want them. And it was just so successful. And if you remember, we made shortbread in one of our very early recipes, and one of the options was to do millionaire shortbread. So that's caramel topping, and then chocolate on top.
Oh, you've got to do chocolate.
So that's what I made for his Valentine's Day present. I did confess that he was getting 2008 caramel. Right, I'm just going to put that out of the way. So here's my fruit salad. I have got in there my pineapple and the cherries. Okay, what else have we got? Aha, a melon. Now, I have some things to show you with melons, which we may or may not use today. First thing I'm doing is I've got the melon, which is a whole melon. It's a Galia melon. So it's one of the round ones. I find the ones like rugby balls are completely flavourless. You know, those bright, sharp yellow, well, they are yellow. I'll take my word for it. I think they're yellow.
I don't know.
Waste of time. Don't bother buying them. Dahlia melon, this is round. So what I've done, I've lined it up on the board. So I've got the little end of the stalk on my left side and the bottom on my right side. So I know I'm going through the middle. And often with fruit, what's really important is that you know how it grew, because then you understand where the pips are. And can I tell you, just automatically, without even telling you, I have just scooped the pips out with my fingers and put them in the bin. You know, just as simple as that, pretty much clean. Anything that's not cleaned out, you tell your guests it's texture. Right, I now have here a couple of melon ballers. One, you know what these are? These have got little cups on the end, and at the bottom of the cups there's a little hole, and that's because if you don't have the little hole, the liquid from the melon will sort of suck the ball into the cup and you won't be able to get it out. So that's, I've got one that's 2 different sizes. I've got another one that's rather bigger. I could sit here and ball this melon. Actually, life is too short and I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is take my knife and I'm going to peel the melon. I've got each half and I'm holding the flat half, flat side in my left hand. I've got it on the board so it's stable, and I expect you're not supposed to do this, but I'm cutting towards me, so be careful. And I've got one of my sharp knives, so it's going through, and I'm feeling with my hands the difference between the skin, and under the skin there's a sort of hard layer, so I want to take that off. So I may be being slightly generous as I cut this skin off, but I want to make sure that I haven't got any of those hard patches left. And in a minute, I'm going to feel it all over and check that I haven't got any hard patches. And again, I will go over the skin. And if I've got any too much of the actual flesh left on the skin, I can take that off with my thumbs and it can just go into the fruit salad as extra bits. Now, I've got the melon cut side down. I'm just trimming off round the top of the dome, feeling with it, feeling. I've got a little knobble there. I'll whip that off with my knife. Again, do you remember last time we talked about how important it is to have sharp knives so that you don't have to put so much force on anything? Okay, now my next gadget. You will not be able to buy this, I think, but there may be something similar. I bought this in Thailand, and it looks like a chopper. So it's got a handle, and then it's got a square blade attached to that. But that square blade, it's not serrated, it's corrugated. So if I slice a piece of melon, it's actually got little corrugations all the way along.
I think I've got one of those. I do potatoes with it.
Yep, you could do potatoes, you could do all sorts of things. But if you're doing a fruit salad, it's quite nice to have different textures. You know, you've got different fruits, different textures. So you could just chop this up. Here's my half melon. I'm just going to go down through it, cutting it up. I'm just going to do this into chunks, really. And again, for most of this, I'm doing them not much more than 1.5 centimeters in any direction, because I want them to go into my mouth without lashing all around my cheeks and all the rest of it. So, melon going in. I'm just going to do the rest of this half. And what this is, it's because I've got to the bit where It's just enclosing the seeds, so it doesn't even have a lot of flesh on it. Turning around. Now I make this, as I said, a big fruit salad. So I'm talking about nearly always a pineapple. And of course, if the pineapple's boring and too difficult, use a tin of pineapple, preferably in juice. And that is quicker and easier, perhaps. I'm going to do the rest of the melon later. I'm not going to hold you up. What else have I got here? I've got a whole box of fruit. Ah, I have a mango. Now, I don't know whether any of you have ever read Agatha Christie.
Yeah. Murder on Orient Express.
Right. Poirot, you know Poirot.
Wow, yeah.
He said the way to eat a mango is in the bath. Because they make such a mess. So I'm just hoping that I can find my potato peeler. Alan, can you pass it to me? Can you pass me? Yep. Okay. Mango. Challenging. I like mangoes, one in fruit salads and in fruit desserts, but also I use them for, actually, can you pass me another potato peeler? That one's not sharp enough. I make coronation chutney with mangoes so that I can just stir that into mayonnaise, toss in some cooked chicken, instant meal in the summer. And I use that. So what I'm doing is I'm peeling this mango, and this one is actually rather underripe, which is actually quite good for cooking because you don't want it completely destroyed. And what I've got, can you hear that? 10 men. 10 persons, Alan's correcting me. I've got it on my work surface and I'm moving it on the work surface so that, because it's going to get slippy, and that's with all of this fruit, it's going to get slippy because there's juice and all the rest of it.
Oh, yeah.
So keep it firm on the work surface so that it's not spinning around. And in fact, I'm using one of my boards, and I've talked to you about this before. This is my red fruit board, and it's got a rim round the far end so that it will just stop all the liquid spilling onto the actual work surface. So here I go, nearly done with this mango. I know, isn't it exciting sitting there listening to somebody else do all the work while you just sit there and think, what am I doing today? Have you all had Valentine's presents?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. They're coming later.
Yes, apparently so.
Now, do you understand? In fact, I'm going to assume that you don't. I expect some of you do. That a mango has a big, flat stone in the middle.
Yeah.
It has a lot of flesh attached to that stone. So what I'm going to do as I finish peeling it, just going to do the pointy end now. And I think actually blind people are probably a lot better at some of these things than people with sight. I know I'm the best person for getting bones out of fish because I actually feel them, because I concentrate on using my fingertips. Here I'm concentrating on running my fingers all over this mango, making sure I've got all the peel off it. So you can hear how hard this mango is. So now I'm going to ask Alan, who has disappeared again. No, I've got it. One knife. It's because I've got so much stuff on here. I'm holding this mango really firm on the board with quite a lot of pressure, and I've got my knife in and I'm trying to find this stone. Sometimes mangoes, you can sort of feel from their overall shape where that stone is. And I think I'm now running my knife in underneath, and I've now got a whole lump of flesh that can come out, get diced, because I've run my knife over the top of the stone. So just dicing that up very quickly into my dish, which is getting, so yeah, I can actually feel the stone now. So I can turn that over, run my knife, and I'm looking at about, a good centimetre. I've got the flat side as I'd cut previously on the board, and I'm feeling with my knife a good centimetre above that, because that is enabling me to feel the stone. And there it is. So that's the other side off that mango. See, it's not difficult, is it?
No.
No, not at all.
I want you to see, you know, here we are doing really a big meal, lots of desserts, and it's not taking long. So I've got this flat, it's not a disc, it's a flat oval, which is mango around the stone. And what I'm doing now is cutting around the edge, whipping off the fruit in sort of lumps, throwing it into the bowl, and I'm cleaning up all the way around this stone.
Is anyone baking along with Penny today?
I am.
Excellent.
Are you? What are you doing?
I've got in my dish so far a few cherries, some pineapples, some apples, and some pears, and a couple of orange slices.
Oh, very good. I'm going to be doing most of that, I think, perhaps some other bits and pieces. I'm a bit concerned that this dish is getting very full.
It's full up already.
Bigger dish, Alan.
Darling, there is another one actually.
We're all coming round this afternoon for tea.
Oh yeah, indeed.
Can I commend these dishes? They're Pyrex dishes. I think they came from TK Maxx, and they have plastic lids. So you obviously don't cook with the plastic lids, but it means you can store them in the fridge with all that stuff. Right, I now have a mango stone. Can you hear that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which is pretty jolly clean. It's got some little tiny bits of fruit on it, but not enough that you would even want to suck it clean. So that was really successful. And I've got a whole pile of peel over there, which I'm going to put into my box. I use an ice cream box on my work surface, one of those big ones. It means that if it gets smelly, I can put a lid on it. I have another little lid that fits it just for swing, as a swing box, so that Alan, because of course I can't find the compost bin.
Of course not.
Joys of being blind, Alan can empty it. I don't believe that blind people should really struggle. Okay, what have I got in here? Here's something easy, a pear. Now, the bane of my life as a blind person are these wretched labels that they keep putting on things.
Oh,
I cannot tell you how many of them I have eaten.
I know.
And I suspect that my guests often find them lurking in a fruit salad or something else. What I'm doing with this pear, I've cut it in half lengthways. I've cut the stalk end off. I have tried to check whether it's got any labels on it, and I don't think it has. I am not peeling it for two reasons. One, the peel has got lots of flavour in it, and two, because pears can be quite a soft fruit, they will start falling apart. And also you've got all that roughage in the skin. So here's this pear half, cut it in half again so it's a quarter, put my knife under the little, what do they call those things at the bottom of pears and apples? I don't know.
they're not cores, are they?
No, they're the little hard bits. It's
the remains of the
Oh
seeds.
gosh.
yes, it's where they grew from originally.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so I'm taking that out and taking out the seeds at the bottom, and then just chopping it up to mouth-sized pieces. Dum dum dum. There's a pear done.
An apple called.
Right, what have I got? Let's do a quick banana.
I found it. I think it's
Have you
called a
Googled
pulp.
it?
Into your fruit
Yeah, I've
salad.
googled it. I think it's called a pulp.
A pulp.
Ah.
A pulp.
Yeah.
How
I
do you
just put in
spell-
what is the bottom of an apple called, and it said it's called a pulp.
Can you spell it?
Pardon?
Can you spell it?
P-U-L-P.
P-U-L-P.
Pulp.
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 Never heard that. How interesting.
No,
Weird,
very
isn't it?
strange. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Pulp is a mushy bit.
I thought the pulp was the mushy bit. Okay, there's a banana in. I've got an apple. Ditto. Checking the apple for the wretched labels. God. Right, it's on. I'm standing it upright, stalk up, cutting it in half, cutting it in half again into quarters, taking out the seeds and the pulp. We think it's called the pulp, but I'm not thinking. Into bite-sized pieces. In it goes. So I've got two more things that I really want to show you.
So you don't peel the apple either, Penny?
No, again, all of these are washed. I don't know about you, but I'm still being a good girl. So when we get things from the greengrocers, everything is washed as it comes into the house. You know,
Does it
because
matter?
of our
Does it matter what
COVID
type of apples they are? Do they have to be
eating.
cooking apples?
They're eating apples as
Eating
opposed to cooking apples.
Right.
Cooking apples would
These
be
big ladies.
quite bitter, and it also might just collapse into pulp
Yeah.
as opposed to being staying
Word
in
of the
a
day.
container. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Right, I've got two things left I want to show you, and the first one is a kiwi fruit.
Ooh.
Now, some people eat kiwi fruits whole and eat them like a boiled egg. What I'm going to do is take my trusty peeler and I'm going to peel it.
Yeah, I take the skin off.
All
if I'm
the
gonna eat
furry
it.
bits around the edge. And yes, I accept that you do lose some of the fruit. But, you know, we're trying to give this fruit salad lots of variety and lots of different flavors and textures. And for those you can see, colors. So I thought this was quite interesting. Now, as I'm peeling it, and it's coming off quite nicely, I know that I'm not going to be able to peel it right at either end because you've got quite hard, knobbly bits there. So once I've got the peel off, I will address those pieces. Hello, pieces. Sorry, that was levity. So here comes my kiwi fruit, and I've just got a bit that's not so nice, so I'm just going to peel that off. And the last piece is coming away. And actually that's taking a bit of the flesh off, so that's going straight in. At the end bits have disappeared. I would have taken them out with the end of my potato peeler, as you would for an eye in a potato. And I'm just cutting this little kiwi fruit, not very big, into 4 pieces, and that's just going to go in there for a bit of colour. Last thing, last gadget, this is an orange. I have taken out, I don't think it's called a pulp, you know, the little hard thing at the end of it. I've taken that out already, and what I have somewhere on my work surface, which Alan will possibly help me with, is my Zester. So Zester? Zester. Do you all have a Zester?
Yes.
Let me get that.
Normally on a cheese grater, isn't it? You can get them.
Yes. Could you hear that sort of skepticism?
I got a cheese grater with like 4 sides to it, and there's different things on each side. And
You're
one is a
absolutely
zester.
right. Of course you can use that. What I have here is, think of a potato peeler handle. It then has a blade, and at the end of that blade, there are 4 little holes, and they are sharp. And when you pull this, I'm going to do this straight over my dish. Can you listen really carefully?
Oh yeah.
Can you hear that?
Yes.
The smell is coming off, and what I'm doing is I'm running this across the skin of my orange, and it is taking off a very thin amount of the skin. You can, all the orange oils are coming out. It smells wonderful. And so that means that I am left with an orange that's going to be entire. It's still got its white pith underneath. So it's still quite capable of being used and held, which I think if you did it on a grater, you've got some risk that it will all start coming apart if you get over enthusiastic in one direction. If I had 3 kitchen gadgets that I would use, it would be my sharp knife, my potato peeler, and one of these. I use this all the time. If I was making, did we make a Victoria sponge once? And if I wanted to make that lemony, I would put this lemon zest into it. It's really fine little strands. And because I'm doing it in 2 directions on this orange, I'm getting all of it off. So it's nice and easy to manage. I'm not getting covered with anything other than the orange oil.
You could put that in your marmalade as well then.
Pardon?
You could put that in your marmalade.
You could, if you wanted, you know, very fine shredded marmalade. I'll talk to you about marmalade in a minute if you like. Right, so that's all the zest in there. And so I have a whole orange, and it's a nice firm orange. I can still do things with it. So I put it on my board. I have rotated it so that I have one end on the left and one end on the right. So I know I'm cutting down through the middle. So I cut it in half, and this is the other thing that I would not be without. And it is my juicer, which I'm going to try and find, which is here somewhere. Got it. So this is an electrical gadget. And if you're making marmalade, you know, the way I do it anyway, you absolutely need this. So you and this one, what I love about is it reverses. So you go so far through your orange, and then it will turn itself around. There it goes, and turn it back again. Can you hear that going different ways?
Yeah.
So that's one orange half done. I used to have those little glass ones, remember? The ones our mums made out of Pyrex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were so messy for me. Can you hear that going in different directions?
Yeah.
And I'm running my hands over it so I can make sure it's really been thorough on all the flesh. But this is so much easier. I've got a nice deep container that collects all bits of pulp and the pips. I've got a little, like a plastic jug that attaches to the juicer that I'm lifting off now. So, and it's actually got a pouring spout, so I can put my juice into my container. And that makes it so much easier and cleaner when you can't see. Okay, I have a very full bowl here. I can't tell you how full this bowl is. Right, I'm just going to put in the remaining ingredients. Oh gosh, this is quite embarrassing. I got this really big bowl out and it's still not enough. In here, I have 2 handfuls of sultanas, or raisins would do, a couple of handfuls of crystallized ginger. I get mine from Grape Tree and it's very economic. And that's been sliced up, so it's each piece into about 4 pieces. I've got a couple of handfuls of dried dates, chopped in half, and a couple of handfuls of dried figs, again, chopped in half or 3 pieces. So in they go. Right, you can see why this lasts us a week. I'm feeling a bit embarrassed by all of this because there's more. Somewhere here, if Alan was here, he could help me. I have a box, another box. Ah, in here, I have star anise, and I've got 3 star anise and a couple of cinnamon sticks. So those are going in, spreading them out around. And I'm embarrassed to tell you, I've got some more fruit here that I prepared earlier.
My goodness me.
So I've got the other pear. I've got the other pear, the other apple, the other banana, the other orange. And I think I'm going to suggest that Alan splits this between 2 Pyrex dishes. What I will do now.
Okay.
Do you think so? Do you think I can get it all in there? Oh my goodness.
Go for it.
Go for it. Okay, here it all goes. What I've also got in there is some of our homemade apple juice. So this is what's in this in the liquid side is apple juice, the juice of 2 oranges, and that little bit of juice from the bottled cherries. Is there anything else on this work surface that ought to go in there? I think the work surface itself, a couple of knives and a chopping board.
Kitchen sink.
So there we go. We're going to cover that with foil, and that's going to go into an oven, gas mark 4, for about an hour. And then I'll turn it down to the lowest temperature I can for probably another couple of hours. And all you're doing is just softening it all up, melding all those flavors. It'll come out cool and have its plastic lid on it, and that'll store in the fridge for a week. Right. And it's just delicious.
Penny, what quantity of apple juice was in the bottle? Is it like a 500 ml size, or was it? I
think on the recipe it said like 250 millilitres.
250 ml.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
well done,
good.
Ashton.
Thank
Don't
you.
worry about it. You know, can you tell this is one of these recipes which is throw it all in and see what happens?
Yeah. No, I meant it wasn't just a slosh.
Oh no, it was a good.
A good slosh.
A good
What we
slosh.
do when we make the apple juice is
Yeah.
we store it in small individual plastic water bottles that have been emptied.
Okay.
And the heat of the apple juice going into it makes the plastic collapse. So it expels its air. So it's virtually vacuum packed, and the apple juice has pretty much been pasteurized. So they last a year. So one of those, 200, 250, whatever you want.
Yep.
You know, don't have it swimming in liquid because you'll lose some of it as it cooks, but just have enough to make everything feel moist and nice. Yes. Right, my darling. Would you be kind enough, because I am so sticky, I wouldn't want to touch anything. I'm just going to rinse my hands.
How are you getting on there, Ashton? Have you got all yours ready for the oven?
Yeah, nearly.
Excellent.
Popping a bit of orange juice in there.
Yes, just pop it in.
Where's my foil?
So, questions. Have you been paying attention? This is when I ask you questions.
This mastermind.
Right. What did I use to cut the pineapple with?
Something from Lakeland.
Pineapple cutter.
Top mark.
Very good.
How do you tell, Penny, how do you tell when a pineapple is just right? I've bought them and they've always been overripe.
Well, the first thing I would do is I would feel it. And I think it should be firm.
Right,
Okay, if you feel any soft bits, don't touch it.
right.
If you've got a very firm pineapple, you can tell if it's ripe. This is the old wives' tale, and oh God, I am an old wife. You take one of the leaves at the top and give it a good yank, and if it comes out, you keep it because it's ripe. If it doesn't, you surreptitiously put it back on the shelf in the supermarket and pretend you're a blind person and walk away.
Thank you.
Mangoes, you are looking for something softer than I had today. That might ripen up. The old classic for ripening things are bananas, because they allegedly give off a gas. And so you would put bananas in with other fruit to ripen it. I don't know. That's you know, the old husband.
I've heard that as well.
The old husband's myth.
It's Susie here. I'm a
Hello, Susie.
class. Yeah, the class are watching you. It's the first time they've been.
Hello, class.
So hello to the class. Hang on, I just put my camera on.
Hello.
Here we go. There we go. Oh, it's not coming on, is it, the camera?
I know you're all there. I can hear you.
We can hear you, yeah.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
chemist, and it's ethene or ethylene that comes from the bananas that's used for ripening.
Yes.
And they use this in the boats in Portsmouth to ripen the bananas when they come over.
Oh,
Amazing but true fact for today.
Excellent.
There you go.
That's why all the dock workers look so old, because they're very ripe. Did you notice that non-gender specific word? Dock
Dock
workers.
workers, yeah.
Sue, are you feeling happier about using fruit? Can you see a really simple recipe there?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Penny, can I ask a question? I will quite often buy a mango or a melon and prepare it all, chop it up, put it in the fridge. And very often by the third day, it's starting to smell a bit overripe and really taste almost fermenty. Because you're cooking that, it will keep for a week.
Actually, it does. It does.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, we do this every other week.
Yeah.
And there's rather a lot there.
Yes.
But we would fill a dish, and we would be having it every day for puddings for lunch until Saturday. And I would make it probably on the Monday. Yeah.
Any suggestions for allowing a melon to stay ripe? Because quite often through the summer, we'll just have a medley of fruit with a dollop of yogurt for our breakfast.
Yes.
And if I'm just using, a small amount of the melon, then I hate wasting things. And, we might have melon in amongst 3 other fruits 4 days running. By the 4th day, I'm often sort of sniffing the melon thinking, no, it's past it.
Okay, let me tell you about this. When I was in Australia, in Kiama, she said, name dropping, I was doing some cooking with a food hygienist, and she was very precise about, I think they had rock melons out there and watermelons she was talking about, but she was talking about all sorts of melons, and that actually they are quite prone to getting contaminated. And it may be how they're grown or how they're handled or whatever, but they can carry quite a lot of things on their skins that you really don't want. And so her solution was, she was washing them in something. And I know when I was in, more name dropping, in Malawi, he was using potassium permanganate on lettuces. But I think she was looking at, you make a sort of acid solution so that what is on the outside of your melon doesn't get onto the flesh. So I think she was probably, and you'll have to read the book that comes out in April because I can't remember. But I think she was by the book, yes. Lemon juice or perhaps a little vinegar, but I would certainly try the lemon juice. And she was certainly saying that if you've got anybody who is vulnerable, which would be pregnant women, or that can be non-gender specific, by the way.
God for that.
Or somebody who has got
men could get pregnant, be a lot more careful.
If you're vulnerable and you buy cut melon, you should always be rinsing it in lemon juice or something like that, so that you're keeping yourself safer. And so you might just try to look at one, if you're buying a whole melon, what are you doing to clean it before you cut it? Because you're trying not to transfer the bacteria or whatever from the outside inside. Then when you have cut it, think about just giving it a drizzle of lemon juice. I make no promises about this. I'm just pulling together bits of information that I've from around the world.
Worth a try, because I've stopped buying melon now because it just, I can't use it up quickly enough with just the two of us in the house.
Bigger breakfasts or closer neighbours?
Yes.
But what you can do is do something like this. This fruit salad, you can have it cold and you can have the breakfast.
Oh yeah.
And by the time you've got, this is, you think about veganism. This is absolutely full of all sorts of trace elements and good things. There is some sugar in it, mainly because of the sugar that I bottle the cherries in, which is just part of how you do that. But it is delicious and varied and interesting, and you could have it spoonful on porridge or with cornflakes, and you could get rid of Cocoa Pops. Are the children still listening?
On your granola?
Yes, on your granola.
Oh,
Are there any more questions about fruit? No.
No, the room's gone quiet.
Oh, sorry. One more question, Penny. Are you going to reduce the vitamin C content by heating the fruit?
Probably will. Don't forget, some of it is also dried. It's not going to be, so rampant. But we're doing a fairly low-level cook. I'm getting it up to a temperature, and then just letting it sit there and potter away. Yes.
And that's why Penny did. That's why Penny did so much of it, so that the vitamin C, stays its content. Then, so
absolutely.
But basically, it's any fruit. I would often make this with the fruit that was left over from last week. So last week's apples, the last couple of pears in the fruit basket, the last couple of bananas that are getting, Alan would say dead, but I like them leopard skinned. And all the rest of it, just pop those all in, put in some nice juice from your oranges, fresh and zingy, apple juice, or something you could buy. There's nothing wrong with bought juice.
As long as it's sugar-free.
You could throw a crumble topping on top of that and turn it into a fruit.
I was going to
crumble,
say,
yeah.
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely. Do you know my crumble topping? Have I told you about that?
I know you freeze it when you make lots of it and put oats and nuts in it.
Yes. So I would use proportions 2 of flour. No, sorry, not flour. 2 of oats, 1 each of butter, crushed hazelnuts, and soft brown sugar or honey.
Right.
So that could be, when I say 2 to 1, so it could be 8 ounces of oats, porridge oats, 4 ounces of butter, 4 ounces of crushed hazelnuts, 4 ounces of sugar or honey. Rub it all in, throw it into bags, freeze it, use it whenever you want to. I always have a couple of bags in the freezer because we make our own honey now, or the bees make our honey. I make it with honey, which makes it a bit stiffer and a bit harder, but that's really excellent. I would strongly commend it. You would, you know, after this, ordinary boring flour crumble is just so dull.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And we crush the hazelnuts. I just toss them, you know, a couple of handfuls at a time into the food processor, give them a blast, and some come out whole and some come out powder, and it's you say it's texture, darling.
Absolutely.
Now, we've been doing back to basics, and I hope this has been giving you some really simple recipes that you know, just give you a bit more confidence that you can tackle a pineapple, you can tackle a mango, and all these other things, and they're really not that impossible. But I wondered if there was anything else that you would like us to do next time.
It's
Hello.
my class here. They're all gonna say hello. Are you ready, class?
Hello.
Oh,
I'm waving at you. You can't see me, and I can't see you.
I
How
can't get the
wonderful.
camera on. But they said, are you able to make sushi? Any sort of sushi, or is that really difficult?
Well,
From your world tour?
I didn't go to Japan on my world tour.
Okay.
I do have a sushi rolling mat.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't everyone, my dear? I think it takes you about 20 years of day in, day out sushi rolling to become a good sushi maker.
wow.
Oh, okay.
I think that may be one of those things that I may need to practice in private
Yes.
for quite a
Okay.
long time.
Oh,
To come back and make sushi.
See you in 20 years.
No, I'll be dead in 20 years. Anybody else got anything they're interested in the
Banoffee
kitchen?
pie.
Banoffee pie.
Banoffee pie and
Oh,
baked
that's-
Alaska. They're baked Alaska. I've never tried.
Whoa,
I've tried that either.
that's real precision stuff baked on.
Is it? It's like
Oh, it's so easy.
Well, it's
Is it
easy.
really?
Temperature's bang on, isn't it?
Do you want a baked Alaska?
yeah. Come on, guys, we want baked Alaska.
Somebody wants baked Alaska.
Who's with me on baked Alaska?
Well, I would be interested in how you manage to make sure you've got the meringue over everything, you know, in terms of lemon meringue pies, and 'cause you've got to completely insulate your ice cream with the meringue, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's any suggestions about, you know, making sure something's properly covered?
Maybe we ought to start with something simple with meringue first and then work our way up, maybe.
I tell you
Yeah.
what I do make is a wonderful meringue roll,
Ooh.
which is eminently freezable. And you can whip out for a party.
Sounds good.
Do you know anything like that? Because it's so difficult to feel when you've, you know, even if you're doing meringues or a pavlova, it's so difficult to feel that you've got it in the right shape, or in any sort of shape, really.
Shape. You say it's artistic, and this is my impressionistic approach.
Well,
Okay.
I tried using those rings, you know, that you put flan rings, I think they call them.
Yes.
And then you lift the flan ring off and you've got most of the meringue stuck to it. So then I run my finger around and fling it back at the pile in the middle and miss.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do then. We'll do something with meringue next time.
Okay.
Excellent.
And of course, I will tell you, this is a perfect disc, and you will never know. And actually, if it tastes good, you know, everybody
Who
What does it
cares?
matter?
Who cares?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, something with meringues next time. And if we make something with meringues, have I told you about my creme Noël?
Ooh.
So this one, what I made, I had a Christmas party here, outside and COVID safe, you know. I'm just
Not at 10 Downing Street, you know.
I'm the Prime Minister.
Oh no.
And so I had little jars, and in the bottom of each jar was a teaspoonful of my homemade mincemeat. Then we put a cream and egg and sugar custard on top of it, which was just sort of knocked together. And then the lid on the jars, and then I put them in the sous vide for 80 minutes, no, at 80 degrees for an hour, 60 minutes. And they came out fabulous, just fabulous. And so what you could do if you were feeling really brave, and I'm not, is you could sprinkle sugar on the top of them and get your trusty blowtorch out and brulee them. And I gave them with little shortbread biscuits. Do you remember we made those? And I decorated them each with a couple of little tiny star shortbread biscuits. And so they could be dished out to people, because again, I was trying to be COVID safe. So these desserts had not been touched by anyone because they got their lids on since I'd made them. And after that, they'd been cooked, so they were all safe. I hadn't got any more bacteria or virus on them. And so they could be just served to people in their jars. They took the tops off, and everything was as clean and as safe as possible.
Nice.
So if we do meringues, I'm looking at making creme royale for the Jubilee puddings. How's that for a challenge?
Sounds good.
Very good.
Okay, are we done, ladies and gentlemen? And pupils.
Hang on. Penny, we've got 3 questions for you. Can you do trifle?
Yes.
We've got, can you do bread and butter pudding?
Oh.
And I don't know if you can do that. And creme brulee, but I think that covers in your last one that you were talking about, probably. So there are requests.
Should we look at eggs next time?
Yeah, that sounds brilliant.
Okay, because we are back to basics, and eggs are an absolute basic, aren't they?
Yeah.
Do eggs next time, and if anybody has any other ideas for future events, please let me know, let Zoe know. Okay.
Excellent. So our next baking session will be on March the 14th, which is a Monday. So it's and the same time. We've still got the if you haven't got it already, we've still got the Christmas booklet that Penny put together on our website, available on our website, and obviously from Penny as well, which has all of the recipes that we've done up until December?
Yes, and it's a Word document, so you can download it and turn it into any sort of accessible format you need.
Yeah. So guys, thank you ever so much for coming along and joining us, and thank you, Penny, for sharing your ideas and your techniques of getting through that fruit. And I hope you
Bye.
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 You ready? Bye.
Oh, bless. Bye.
Bye.